What I see time and time again is advisors aren't paying attention to their own situations. Or sometimes the light goes on, it's like, oh crap, I'm 55 years old. What's in my bank account? How am I going to make it? Those are really important questions to have. Getting out of the client conversation, getting more into treating the advisor as a client and saying, what exactly are you doing? That sometimes shakes them up pretty bad. How can an advisor answer the question for a client if they haven't resolved it for themselves yet? That understanding and awareness happens. We start seeing some really great things happen on the client level too. You know, as a money management firm, we get a lot of questions about like taxes and legal advice and all the other stuff. And I think it's really important. I had a call with one of our advisors the other day, and he started getting into weeds about ERISA plans, 401k plans. And he said, I'm working with a lawyer who also has a tax planning firm, and he's looking how to maximize his tax benefits for retirement planning. So when it comes to like tax advice or legal advice, we do value CPAs and lawyers, and we're not trying to out there give anyone investment advice. But I'll tell you one thing, without a foundation of the right legal, powers of attorney for finance, a simple will, or maybe a trust to protect your kids if they're underage, all those things are foundational. So we get a lot of questions sometimes, what should I do here? What should I do there? We can give guidance on those things. But at the end of the day, you have to go to your CPA, you have to go to your attorney. Super important. Just like anything in life, you know, you're not going to come to me for fixing your transmission in your car. You're going to go to a mechanic for that and do it with your lawyer or your tax accountant as well. And throughout today, we are going to be talking a little bit of tax stuff. We'll be talking a little legal stuff, but it's never going to be in the form of full-blown advice because we're not those people.
Right.
Yeah. What's your take on like advisors? Because you're working with a lot of reps at the firm. Do you ever hear conversations about prospective clients coming in worrying if they were going to run out of money?
Not worrying about running out of money. Lately, the conversations I've been having had questions on the AMP portfolio. That's what I'm seeing in the marketplace a lot is there's a lot of advisors who are getting burned. They're approaching that 5-year washout mark or just after it where they're really second guessing it.
I find that a lot of advisors that we've been talking to lately ask us a lot about what we do, how we do it, the methodologies, the custodians, the trading, payouts. And what I've been finding myself doing lately is just zooming out. And I want to get back down to the root question with a lot of advisors today is really focusing on they care about their clients. But what I see time and time again is advisors aren't paying attention to their own situations. Or sometimes the light goes on, it's like, oh crap, I'm 55 years old. What's in my bank account? How am I going to make it? Those are really important questions to have for advisors that I work with. Getting out of the client conversation, getting more into treating the advisor as a client and saying, what exactly are you doing? What is the client's goal? And it sometimes shakes them up pretty bad because they forget. It's really important to review income plans, not only on the client level, but on the advisor level. How can an advisor answer the question for a client if they haven't resolved it for themselves yet? So part of what we do as a firm is we try to dig in and help the advisors as an advisor would help their clients. Set them on a path because that once it clicks, once the knowledge gets there, once that understanding and awareness happens, we start seeing some really great things happen on the client level too.
There was a point where I was having an issue with a client and it took like an hour and a half Zoom. We talked about everything aside from his account and it's been a complete turnaround since then.
Yeah. I mean, the investment accounts are just one part of the picture, one part of the solution. A lot of times we just need to be able to communicate and have someone visit us on our lonely little island to think about things a little differently. So how do we create that in what we do as a firm? Exposure to everybody else. Because we can take little bits and pieces from everybody's situation and create our own pathway. That's what I love about being around groups like this, especially in our industry where we can get a concentrated group of just advisors together. One of the keys to success is just to connect with people who are like-minded because we tend to forget. A lot of times you go to an event, party, and you go home, and then the next event you go to, you're like, you tell your friend, it's been too long. That sucks.
It does.
Why are we doing that?
There's a period, and it doesn't happen as much now, but when we first started touring with Floyd Nation, the excitement of what we would do and then to come back home. So, you know, even when we're out for like a week at a time, when you get back home, there's still a shift and a flip that has to happen. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer than others. But lately, that shift from, okay, well, now I've got to get back to that choose my own adventure routine and stacking the deck to be able to have those small wins on a regular, consistent basis. It's made 2025 a very interesting and productively rewarding year.
So let's talk about one of the cool things that this idea that we had, being able to connect more better with people that are more like us. We had this idea of guitar clinic in conjunction with Arts Bonita in Bonita Springs, Florida. We're investment advisors, but we're also musicians.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we marry the two together? So this crazy idea came up and we're like, okay, let's lean into the fact that we're not only investment advisors, but we're musicians.
Mm-hmm.
And let's marry the two things together and bridge a clinic for guitar, bass, and drums for Arts Bonita, raising them a lot of money.
That is a really cool thing because it's about building a community.
Because, musicians are no different than investment advisors or no different than any salesperson or any other office worker. Water cooler talk's the thing.
Yep.
Why?
Because it creates
connection and community. My goal in the next 5-6 years to help build that 1,000-seat auditorium that they're wanting in Bonita Springs and make that the center of music for the entire Southwest Florida. So I say, why not?
Yeah.
We built Portfolio Medics, so let's build that.
Yeah, why not?
We built our Floyd Nation band, let's build that. It can't be that difficult. With 30,000 people, let's start the excitement. And if we can get them together, we're going to be able to create some just insanely incredible things and meet some really interesting, cool people along the way.
Because that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
How do we help people and how do we meet people?
So same thing, started Portfolio Medics. John and I, we were just kind of like a little self-centered. Let's create this for us and our clients. And then we realized, holy crap, this is a way we can build a whole community of like-minded people that come together, that have fun, that explore the possibilities, that are open, that want to connect with investors that feel the same way.
Right. That are tired of being constrained by a belief system.
And it's constrained in a way that they don't even know they're constrained a lot of times. What I love about what we do and how we lean into what we do philosophically from an investment standpoint, musically of how we lean into things, we automatically find our own tribe.
That's it for that one.
Lean into it.
With purpose.
With a defined goal in mind, knowing who you are.
How long did it take you to find out who you are?
I'll be 52 this year, and I still don't know exactly who I am, but I've got a really good sense of it. I don't think I'll ever quit exploring or learning.
Mm-hmm.
I find something new about me, myself, about my wife, about you, even my own mom, after all these years, constantly open up to ideas and suggestions and exploring new opportunities. Let's circle it back around to our clients, an individual investor, individual mom and dad. They've saved up some money and they're getting ready to retire. They're retired. Running out of money is probably one of the most stressful things you could ever talk about to someone, and it can happen in a lot of ways. You can have market corrections.
Yep.
Stock market. Things are bubbly right now. You can get sick and go to a nursing home and lose it all. Nursing homes are
expensive.
Over $100,000 a year and more. I know that firsthand from my dad from last year, right? It was horrible. And you work your ass off your whole life just to happen to get sick, have a stroke, and lose it all. There's a lot of reasons to run out of money. One of the reasons is because you didn't save enough, or you're misguided as far as how you should be invested based on your own risk tolerance profile and suitability needs, right? These are all standard things that advisors talk about. These are all standard things. Well, the other side is like Social Security, timing. You got assets, you got income, you got flows, inflows, outflows, you got debt. I mean, at the end of the day, all these things can get super complicated. It's really just a matter of simply living within your means and based on the life that you build, understanding what could be the worst case scenario. If things get bad as an investment management firm, as investment advisors, we're very concerned. That's our profession. We're super focused on that scenario.
Yes.
That's one scenario of many that could ruin someone. You could be driving down the road tomorrow and the kid rolls out in front of you on his bicycle and you don't have an umbrella policy and it's your fault because you were looking at your phone. You're done. you're cooked. You can have a piece of land like I have across the street over here with an eagle nesting platform on it. And if I didn't have a no trespassing sign up and someone went over there and tripped and fell and broke their neck, guess what? If I don't have coverage, I got a problem.
Right.
So when we come at it from, we're investment managers, we're investment advisors. Our specialty is looking at the markets, at managing the money. Let's assume that everything else is fine and dandy.
Okay.
We got the long-term care covered. We got the tax planning covered. We got the legal side of it covered. You got all of it's covered. We're good. Liability policies, house insurance, car insurance, everything's cool. And then all of a sudden we get into a situation where the stock market has a massive correction. What could go wrong? Is it the investment going down in value that tripped everybody up? Or is it the fact that maybe that individual was outliving their means? They're living beyond. They scaled up too much and they set their lifestyle to the point to where they couldn't absorb the losses that hit them because of the market decline. It's a very complex, like, am I going to run out of money? And it's like, if you don't look at everything, if you don't get off your island and look around for a couple minutes, there's a good chance, especially with the market valuations that we have today.
That's where the set it and forget it attitude can be very dangerous.
But I hear a lot of times, just wait, it comes back. Just wait, it's always come back. Everybody needs to get a grasp on where they are today. I don't care if we're the advisor or if you have another advisor, get around that water cooler and talk. Maybe there's just something that we overlooked for your situation we didn't know about, that you brought up to somebody else, that there's something that's uncovered. You have to constantly keep asking the questions. But I think the biggest problem is we're not trained to ask the hard questions. We're trained with solutions, and it's shut your mouth, don't ask those questions. Extremely important in this kind of a market to go back and stress test. If you're an investor, if you're a business owner, doesn't matter.
Well, go the polar opposite. Take it out. I'm going to go right back to your relationship with Libby. Every once in a while or on an ongoing basis, there's temperature checks.
Oh, I know how to blow up my relationship. You know how to do that?
Right.
I just don't show up for a few days and it's done.
Yep.
So if I'm trying to stress test my relationship, I'm thinking, what would I do to screw it up? Oh, failure to communicate.
Yep.
And I'm done.
Yep.
It's over. So let's not do that. How do I make communication better in that instance? Well, we need to take that same concept and apply it to everything in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
How do I make it better? I was talking to a guy yesterday, $2 million in the bank, did great, hit all the right things, self-managing his accounts. His returns are incredible. I said, that's great. When's the last time you had your power of attorney for finance updated? He said, oh, I need to get one of those. Son of a gun, man. But I'm sitting there, I'm a money manager, but I'm like, there's nothing I can help you with except my limited knowledge to say, question.
Right.
Go back and rethink that and go back and figure it out. There's so many pitfalls that we have. Running out of money is one thing, but running out of resources is an entirely different thing.
I had a conversation with a guy. He's actually a new rep with the firm. And he's like, if everything goes to hell in a handbasket, so what you're telling me is, I should start buying paintings and getting gold and this and that and the other. I said, cool, man, you do that. So I said, I'm going to go get guns and ammo and I'm going to come up to your place in New York and I'm going to take your golden paintings.
The kind of fun thing. I got this thing. This is the one thing that I like to carry around.
Yep.
You and I bought this together, and this is a 1 ounce gold coin. I carry this in my pocket because I get a lot of questions from investors, representatives, other financial advisors about gold because they know we're money managers. Back when I bought this, I paid $1,865 for that.
Okay.
So this, as of today's market close, is probably $4,000. Was this a good investment?
Yes.
I'm going to argue with you. And I'm going to say this is not an investment at all.
Well, it's a collector.
It's not a good investment yet.
Because you haven't sold it.
I'm just a collector. I can't eat it. I can't do anything. This is in my pocket. Okay, I bought it, but I collected it.
Well, the value comes in from how you use it as a tool.
So when I go buy stuff like this, my first question is, how much can I lose in value, worst case scenario?
Okay.
And what's my door out? How do I get out of it? Look, I bought this. I accumulated this beautiful gold, but right now it's just a collection. It's a piece that I own. It's worth more than I bought it for. But my big question is, anytime I give this and I hand this to someone, especially now, it's like, this is $4,000 or more. Put it in their hand. That's $4,000 in your hand. Like, that's crazy.
Yep.
It's a lot of money, a little tiny coin. I don't care as an investment guy. I want to know, if you own that, what's the worst that could happen? How bad could it get? So back when I did it, I made this little piece of paper. It says, what's the worst that could happen? And there's a chart there that has a point at the top and a point at the bottom. And this goes from like a long period of time on the chart, going from right around 1980 or so, all the way through the 90s up to 2000. And gold over that period of time had a drop in value of about 70% to the bottom. 70. So that tells me that I've collected this gold coin, but I know that I'm holding an asset. It is an asset, commodity, that has the ability to go down in value. 70% at least, because that's what it's done. Could it go down that much more in the future? Sure. Why? Because it did in the past. Now, it's no guarantee that it's going to go down or go up from here. But just the simple fact that it's gone down like that. If I own this and this is my only asset, or this is my entire portfolio, shouldn't I have something in place that says, get out of the way before it loses 70% of the value if it starts to go down?
Yes.
This question we have is like, when you're buying or selling anything, and this is stocks or bonds or mutual funds, a lot of times I'll see individual investors, they have a broadly diversified portfolio. And I'm like, great job collecting all that stuff. What's the plan? And if they say the plan is to buy and hold, I say, great, let's stress test that and let's see what the worst case scenario is. And now let's apply that to your situation to see if you run out of money in that scenario. Losing 70%, hey, you still got 30% left. But what if you're drawing income from that? And you need a certain amount of income, and now your balance is 70% less, and you need the same amount of income on what's left? There's a chance that you may run out of money. My advisors call that sequence of returns risk. There's a lot of different things. But my point being is that every asset that's bought needs to be stress tested and applied to a situation to see if it's a feasible, I'll make it through scenario for the client. It's not that this is good or bad. This is just a thing.
It's a tool.
Let's apply this scenario to it. If 100% of my assets were in this, let's apply that 70% drop. If I came back and I said with certainty, Jason, I could lose 70% in value and I'm fine. And I'm happy with that. I'm not happy. I'm not going to be happy, but it's just what it is. And I have a feeling it'll come back, but it's not going to impact me emotionally. It's not going to impact me financially. Then the answer has to be, if you're not open to anything else, then keep doing exactly what you're doing. The problem is that if I didn't roll out this little slide and tell you that gold has lost 70% in value, or substitute gold for anything else, you never would have known.
Because we don't focus on what possible is on the downside. We're focused on the shiny possibility of what could happen.
What's the possibility? What's the opportunity? What's the upside of AI? What's the upside of crypto? And you get these blinders on, and all of a sudden, worst case scenario happens. Murphy's Law hits. And then what happens? Right. Dave Ramsey, a big fan. I love his attitude, love him, hate him, whatever he is, right? He's not really a money manager. He's not an investment manager, but he's just got a lot of really great grounded common sense. He's learned hard knocks, man. He talks about the hard days he had, and then now he talks about his successes that he has. So love him, hate him, doesn't really matter. But, with Dave Ramsey, it's just about not being a dumbass. Don't get in debt. Stay out of debt as much as you can, as much as you possibly can. Big advocate for that, because anytime you're in an asset and you're investing money and then you have to meet some sort of debt obligation, you're obliged by someone to keep paying through their system that goes against your system, you're done. It's really about exploring those opportunities and coming in and stress testing a situation. Where am I right now? What's the worst that could happen? Oh, what about if you lost your job? And I never think of that. We had that in our last discussion. We talked about this. One of the stress tests that we can say is put yourself in a situation as a young person, still working. You lose your job. What's your life look like 30 days from now?
Right.
What's it look like 90 days from now? What's it look like a year from now if you can't get a new job? That's a stress test to a situation. Stress test situation, you have a stroke. Who's going to step in and make financial decisions for yourself? Who's going to make healthcare decisions for you? Do you want the government to do it, or do you want somebody in your family? There's not a right or wrong answer, but we have the choice right now to make a change and make a difference.
Before the choice is made for
But
you.
we have to know the right questions to ask first. That's the problem with this entire civilization. That's the problem. Nobody's asking the right questions. So that's what we empower.
Is it an ego thing?
It's not. I just think that everyone gets so focused on the thing that they specialize in, the blinders tend to go up, and they don't zoom out to the Google map. They don't zoom out and look at the big picture. What could happen? It's not fun to talk about, I'm going to have a stroke and go to a nursing home. But is it a possibility? My dad had one.
Mm-hmm.
I never would have thought it was a possibility for me until I saw him have it. I'm like, holy shit. I'm glad we had the powers of attorney in place. I'm glad we did all the pre-planning. I'm glad that we stood around the water cooler as we were going through all the healthcare options, and we figured out a way to keep him at home with private nurse. Didn't just jam in a nursing home and let him go. It's keeping the mind open and being able to pivot with people who really get it and understand.
Being able to accept the pivot is important in life. One of the traps that we get in on the Lone Islands, when we're worried about everybody else as being an NPC, is we get so caught onto the should and how things should be. I should be with a firm that has my best thought or interests in mind, that wants to see me succeed, where I'm not just a number.
Yeah.
I should have clients that think like me, that are questioning a lot of things and questioning, is this the best way? Instead of just embracing how things are, and it's not going to be how you wanted it to be. Not being able to embrace the pivot is what keeps a lot of people stuck in a job where they are just a cog in the wheel of a system that doesn't belong to them.
A lot of times when I see people stuck in their jobs, it's because they have to be.
Yeah.
It's because they've dug themselves in to a situation that doesn't allow them to explore the water cooler.
My trails, the commissions from trails are set up to where if I ever, walked away.
Oh, so let's do it in advisor world, right? Let's talk about financial advisors. You've got non-competes.
Yep.
You've got non-solicits.
Yep.
You don't own your clients. Maybe you're at a Fidelity call center. Maybe you're at Edward Jones or you're at Merrill Lynch and you've got all these non-competes. These clients aren't yours. If you leave, they'll come after you if you don't do things a certain way. Or if you do things a certain way, you've got a lawsuit brewing. Look, for some people, that's fine. But for the people that we typically work with, for the advisors that we work with, that's not fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's not fine. It's not normal in our world. It's normal in that world.
I heard the pain in this dude's voice when he told me his cut was 20%.
Hey, look, that works for someone. I mean, if you're budgeting and your payout is 20, 30, 40% of GDC, great. If it works for you. The system works for you, great. Remember when we were talking about that stability?
Mm-hmm.
It's necessary. We don't want everybody doing what we do because then we'd all be the same. We want diversity and, just like diversity of investing, diversity of concepts, diversity of thought. We want diversity in life. We need that. We need the yin and yang. We need the dark and the light to be able to function.
Right.
Because if you have one without the other, guess what you have?
You're out of balance. And
totally out of balance. So the biggest takeaway for these sessions in the future is you and I being able to connect with individuals that are as passionate about doing things the way that we envision as we are. Not everybody digs it. Anyone that's listening to this, if you're still here, you start to hear that resonance and the feeling of it's something that's probably missing in your life too. That's what we've created here is we've created this community. And that's what I love about this. And it's only going to get bigger over the coming years as we keep growing.
Yes.
The goal is to build it. I don't want to die on an island.
Hell for you would be disconnected from everyone around you.